And we are live here to chat about tonight's episode of Suits, which was entitled Good Mudding. They've really been, maybe they've always kind of done funny names and I just haven't really paid attention, but I really feel like they've been doing more funny names this season. I don't know. Maybe my sense of humor, if it's the bar is dropped. I don't know. Which was episode 5 of season 8. And I have joining me again this week, Shana, who's back.
I'm taking my spot back.
She messaged me earlier. She's like, I'm taking name partner back. I was like, all right. Alex was super cool last week. I was really excited to have her on too. But we have Shana back, who's probably our most frequent face on here. And we're going to be chatting about the pros and the cons of tonight's episode. And to get us started, I'll do what we always do, which is have you rate the episode on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 being like you hated it, you didn't like anything about it, or you didn't like most things about it, and 5 being you loved pretty much everything, there was nothing wrong, flawless episode, one of your favorites type of thing. So Shana, will you kick us off? Will you rejoin the circle with your rating for tonight?
I'd probably like a solid 4.5-ish.
Okay, 4.5 is good. That's one of the highest ones you've given so far. So what is it that kind of bumps it high up there for you?
Harvey dealing with his issues. I hope the outcome is different than last time, but you know, it's when he has to deal with his mommy and his brother and all of that. Like he's pretty. It's usually pretty good stuff. And then I don't know what him and Donna. I don't understand what any of that was, but I think it was good, whatever it was.
That was extremely flirtatious. Like, let's just go ahead and get that out of the way, because I think that's going to be in my top moments, your top moments. I assume almost everybody watching, if you're giving it anything above a 1, that was probably in your top moments as well. That opening scene there with Harvey and Donna, where they're kind of flirting a little bit about like what they fantasize about, and he tells her that he fantasizes about strawberries and whipped cream, which is, they both then go on to acknowledge that that is a reference to the time that they had, you know, 13 years ago. That felt really openly flirtatious for them. They've always been so repressed about it before. Now they're just openly talking about the fact that he still fantasizes about it, and she kind of, you know, seems to run with the bit, at least.
Yeah.
Where are they at right now?
I don't know. I'm just so like, what is happening? Like he, you know, there was a lot of innuendo about food and things that they've done with food that we know is done.
Par for the course for them, I guess.
Not like that. Like she was like bearing her neck for him and stuff. And then like when she said it was, then she thought, oh, you know, it's a workplace and someone might overhear. Like, they know you banged a long time ago, whatever. And he's like,
they probably all think that they're together now, because when they were going on, like jumping ahead in the episode to how like Harvey's family treats Donna as if she's his wife. Like they go to her before they go to him. Like
yeah. And like he said, oh, it feels like only 12.5, which was like such a weird. But then you think about it, like, it's probably been about 6 months of nonsense, like, when he was with what's-her-name. So, like,
I don't even think he was with her for 6 months, was he?
I mean, it was at most that. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's resetting the clock, kind of. Like, he's cutting some stuff out.
Yeah, I really don't know.
The
timeline has always been kind of confusing.
Yeah, but half a year is really specific, right? Like, she said 13. He could have been like, it feels like yesterday. But he, like...
Right.
Took away half a year.
Yeah.
And then he called her at the end. Like, what was that? And she knew it was like, you know, like it was, what is happening?
I don't know. That's kind of my question too. I'm kind of curious where they want where do they want us to think that Harvey and Donna are? Because I know you and I have kind of talked semi-jokingly, and I've seen a lot of other fans on Twitter joke about the fact that you could, pretty easily put on just a little bit of a tin hat and believe that Harvey and Donna are already together this season, and that they just don't talk about it at the office. And it's pretty believable. It'll work. I think there's there's one or two lines that could kind of crush that theory. But then other than that, for the most part, it's pretty believable. But putting that aside, pretending, we're just going to believe what we're told. We haven't been told they're together yet. The last we saw was the bit at the wedding. And then we've seen kind of how they've acted this season, which is, just more openly flirty. They're both single. And we see little things like they're kind of each other's first good morning in the morning when they arrive at work, and they're each other's last good night. We've seen them say goodbye when they're going home, or the phone call when Harvey was out of town, things like that. Where are we supposed to believe that they're at, having seen this? I just kind of makes me curious, but
I'm like, and I hate referencing this for a lot of reasons, but I'm like that Nathan Fillion, like, speechless gif over all of this, because he just.
I know what gif you're talking about.
Yeah. Because I know what we're told, and then we see the exact opposite on screen. And then we're told, no, you just want to see that. But I got to tell you, I don't want to be confused like this. So I don't want to see that unless it's happening. So this, like, you see what you want to see thing is like, then what am I seeing? Because,
well, all I don't really want is, like, if they got together off screen and this is all just a, like, tee-hee, you think they're not together, but then they're either going to get together off screen or they did get together off screen. It feels a little trolly. And I know this show wants to troll us quite a lot sometimes, but that feels like kind of a
too far.
Yeah, it's like a you played yourself sort of situation if they're doing that. Let me just jump in the chat, or like they're playing themselves. They're missing out on some better opportunity. Like that would be like, a little bit of annoyance. I'm like, oh, I wish we could have seen them get together. I wish we could have had a whatever, whether that be in the sense, there's sort of two get together moments, right? And I guess my worry is that we've missed the first one. So there's the ultimate get together moment, right? When they, it's usually when a couple will, like, confess feelings. A lot of times it's a hookup scene. A lot of times it's, like a kissing scene, something like that. And that's usually like a pretty big get together. And then there's usually like a little bit of a get together before that. And it's the first scene where they, like, there's suddenly nothing in their way anymore. And you can, if you think back to any, like, classic TV pairings, there's usually, like, and it usually happens, maybe like the season before or something, like they're finally not dating somebody else. One half and the other half finally realize they kind of like each other. They certainly haven't confessed it to each other yet. And sometimes it takes them ages to do that, but they've both finally realized they like each other. There's nothing in the way. And they're sort of this, like, whatever. They're kind of scared about it. And then you go along this path of, like, the flirting, the back and forth, and the, like, do they like me? Do they not like me type of thing? And then you have the ultimate get together. I'm just I feel like we may have skipped over that first one a little bit. And I know we've had moments where they've kind of hinted at possibly having feelings, but they haven't really, like, Donna hasn't admitted it to somebody in particular, other than, like, a few talks with Rachel and kind of a talk way back when with a therapist. And then
Lewis, the talk Lewis on the roof was a pretty big Donna. Right before she kissed Harvey. That was a big one. But
but then she
took it back.
Take backseat on that.
Yeah.
And then Harvey hasn't really talked about it, other than the fact that, like, he told somebody that he has wet dreams about Donna and then proceeded to date her. Like, so that, I don't know. I feel like we've either skipped over that first one, or maybe I'm just not satisfied with the way they did that first one. But I really hope that second one that we're having, eventually, where they'll confess feelings to each other or hook up or kiss or whatever the case, however that may be, I hope that one is great and satisfactory. So to jump in the chat, because we've got quite a few comments here that I kind of want to go through. Stormy gives the episode a 3.5 out of 5. Says her pro and Harvey flirting, having Harvey's brother back. She says she adores that actor and she loves the interactions with Harvey and family. I quite agree. The cons, Alex was over the top jerk. Sheila needs to go. Nothing redeemable there. Constantly emotionally manipulative, get worse. Yeah, I really and Nicole Harvey and Donna's internet is okay. I'm just gonna comments because they're still coming through for me. CL says, I really feel like they're going to prolong them getting together again because the season when Harvey was having those panic attacks, hold on, it's refreshing. I really thought that was the moment for them to confess. That's a really good point. CL also says their love for each other. She thought they were going to confess their love for each other, but instead Harvey started dating Paul. Yeah, it really feels like there's been multiple of those like first get together moments, and there's been so many take backsies that maybe that's why I'm like not taking it seriously. Maybe there have been some. Stormy says if Darby are together, I bet. That's a good point. Now, are you still there? Let's see. Can you hear me?
I can. It went really like for a minute there.
My robot form came through. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it was very like, yeah.
Ooh, wild. I'm so sorry everybody had to see my true robot form. Shana, what are some of your cons from this episode?
Sheila.
Yeah.
Sheila. And I mean, to some extent, Sam, but to some extent, Alex, but mostly just Sheila.
Okay. Let's talk about Lewis and Sheila because they were pretty central to this episode.
Okay.
I keep thinking about them. They seem to get worse every episode for me.
And I'm like, I have to give it to these writers. They've really accomplished something in having me like side with the man, even in the whole pregnancy, my body goes through all these changes. I have to give up all these things discussion. Because first of all, let's just lay it down here. I don't even get it. Like, why does he have to give up mudding if the doctor said his junk was fine? That doesn't even make sense.
I think that's like a medical hand wavy thing of like we're just supposed to accept that. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe it's like it's like his like medically he's fine, but that particular practice
could
reduces
be a problem.
some count. I don't know.
Yeah. So there's that. Like, even putting that out of the way, like, first of all, when you sign a HIPAA release form, it isn't doctor can just call and disclose things to my girlfriend without her requesting it. Second of all, we don't make appointments for people without even talking to them first, especially when it's that personal in nature. We don't tell people they have to go to said appointment even when they say they're uncomfortable. We don't entrap people and specifically put them in a situation that we know is going to be difficult for them, and see if they rely on their one favorite self-care thing, because of course he was going to. Like, I
think what makes it so difficult with Sheila is that if you take her methods out of it, you know, like if it's just a matter of like she thinks that he should go get checked out, it's like, okay, that's valid. I don't know how many months it's been or how long they've been trying, you know, considering her age, you know, maybe it's bit jumping the gun to automatically assume there's something wrong, you know, like maybe it's just taking a little longer, but and his age as well for both of them. But I think the mother's age probably plays more into it. I don't know. I'm not a doctor and I've never had a kid, but with all of that, you know, like it's fair to suggest he get checked out, but it's one thing to like, you know, bring up with your partner, like, hey, you know, like this isn't, you know, hasn't worked in X number of months, you know, maybe after next month we could go get checked out, or in the next month you could get checked out. Making an appointment for them without their knowledge and saying it's today, even when, you know, she knows he's an anxious person who likes to plan and know in advance. That just seems really, and I know it was just there for the drama and for the, you know, to up the stakes of the situation, but they do that so often with her character. And, you know, maybe I just wish her character wasn't written that way, like that she's always not taking no for an answer and not really asking any questions. She just says what's going to happen, you know, and she'll be like, oh, well, if you won't do this, then I'll go get my tubes tied. Not like, well, let's have a discussion. If you're not going to do this, like, you know, do you feel like it would be a next step to just like for us to stop trying? Or I don't know. She just never asks. She always only tells, which is really sketchy when it has to do with like sex and pregnancy.
Yeah, well, and she's also, you know, 5 minutes ago she didn't even want to have a kid, and now she's blackmailing him into making a mistake, which I don't even consider a mistake, because, you know, her equating him giving up mudding when he was told he was perfectly healthy so that they could still conceive. Not that they can't if he,
yeah, I don't know.
You know, her equating that with the actual raising of the child, or even the actual gestation or whatever, like that, it's not the same. And I just feel like this character is a man's idea of an assertive woman, and she's a gross caricature of an overbearing girlfriend. And what that does,
and I get that she's supposed to be a caricature because Lewis is a caricature.
I don't think they get what they're doing, though. I think they thought like they were going to have these two kind of heightened characters, but what they've made her out to be is a really gross representation of every stereotype that men have about women that know what they want, and it isn't healthy in any way. It isn't healthy for the viewers. It isn't healthy for the characters. It's just.
I think it's supposed to be funny. I think it's supposed to be. Oh, I don't think it's funny at all. I don't like this relationship at all. But I think what their intention is for it to be funny in the way that Lewis is sort of funny, and the way that he's sometimes a caricature. But I don't know. It's like a very overplayed joke, and it sometimes feels a bit, I don't know. So, MM likes to write on Twitter, says, I understand the point of the Sheila stuff was to show what women have to give up and how men don't when a woman is pregnant. But it's so weird. I can't see this relationship lasting because Sheila's manipulative. That's what I don't like about it, and that's why it will end. She is extremely manipulative. I quite agree. And I think that Lewis can also be very, you know, he's been aggressive, he's been misogynistic, he's been all sorts of things before, but I don't know that he's gotten to the point where he's like told somebody what they can and can't do with their body when it comes to like reproductive stuff. So it just felt a little weird. Jumping in the chat as well, CL echoes that Sheila's manipulative. Stormy says she thinks Sheila just wants to take away things Lewis enjoys. She comes across as that kind of person. She does come across as that kind of person, and that's why she also comes across as somebody that was written by a man. Says she would like for Lewis to have a good woman. That would be nice. Stormy says Sheila believing that practicing self-care makes you a bad parent. It actually makes you the opposite. Yeah. I know that the kid's supposed to come first, but, you know, Lewis sees a therapist for anxiety. He has anxiety, and, you know, he has to do certain things to sort of combat anxiety. And it's understandable for him to, you know, need to give up certain things to have a kid, just like how sometimes some women have to like give up certain like anxiety medications when they're pregnant because it can harm the child. But he would need more than like a day to do that, you know, like from the time like that she told him he needs to go get checked to the time where he was still, you know, like it was so fast. CL says she doesn't think they know what they're doing with Lewis and Sheila's relationship, and CL had already said before that she thought that Lewis needs like a better person to be with. And I know you and I have talked about that before, because we've talked about the fact that we thought that was going to be Katrina. And that ties into another comment that we just got on Twitter from, I'm so sorry, I'm going to pronounce this username wrong. Phalocyanine says, can you imagine if it's a love triangle with Sam, Alex, and Lewis? What do you think of that idea?
No.
Doesn't the show need a good love triangle, Shana? That's what it needs.
Is this the CW or?
I'm kidding. I don't love love triangles. But it's an interesting idea, and she's certainly not wrong to suggest it. It does seem like something this show would do.
Oh, wow. No. Yeah. No.
Let's talk about Alex and Sam. That's a good transition. Alex and Sam had, probably for the first time this season tonight, interactions that I was somewhat interested in. I liked seeing Sam with Alex's daughter. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was cool. I thought Alex was a little overbearing, and they kind of went out of their way to turn it into the Alex was a good father and he was right all along, and Sam was, you know, when like I feel like Sam didn't really do anything wrong. But what did you think? Because you don't like Sam still. I do.
Yeah. I think they were both right and they were both wrong. I think he was absolutely right in saying, like, you know, my kid has been breaking rules and lying, and you just had her break a bigger rule and help you lie, and then praised her for it. Right? Like, she did a stupid prank at school. This, like, illegally recording a conversation that's not admissible, and then threatening to use it because they didn't actually use it. It was not an issue. But if they, like what she did was actually, in a lot of places, and I'm assuming based on Alex's reaction as well, also they're illegal. And I mean, if there are any legal folks, jump in. But I do know a lot of the times, if it's
I'm only interrupting, be cutting out in the same way that I was cutting out earlier, so I'm just gonna jump in and refresh the page and go on. Just reading some of the comments in the chat. CL says that episode where Katrina and Brian got close, and really he's married and has a kid. Everybody's married and has a kid on this show, so that's kind of part of the struggle. Also for this episode, it was the first time that she's together. I've wondered if that's what they're setting up, but I've also thought that they were kind of setting up Sam to be gay. They seem to be coding her that way, if I was like interpreting it correctly, but clearly could be not. MM likes to write on Twitter says the conversation that Lewis and Sheila had with the conversation that Donna had with Lewis in the end, and the way Donna treated Lewis in the end, and how Harvey treated. She questions how Sheila could be the love of Lewis's life when she doesn't treat him well, which is a very good point. And I think we still may be cutting in and out. I don't know. You guys let me know if it is. But Shana, yeah, sorry guys. I think we may still be cutting in and out. I don't know. See what I can do. Shana, can you hear me again?
Yeah, I tried to do the refresh to see if it would
back
You there? No.
Oh, there there you go. I can kind of hear you now, Shana. Can you hear me?
Kind of, not great.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Shana, I'm going to give you the floor since I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you tell me what you want to see in the next episode?
I would like to see Sheila go away. I would like to see Sam either tell us a true story about herself and us actually know what to do, or just stop talking. And I would really, if Darby could anything definitive and not this weird mystery thing, that would be great. I think those I think those are probably going to wind up being my standing wishes for the season. I think those are like, get rid of Sheila, make Darby bang again, make something real about Sam. Because I don't even know like the good parts of this episode for her, which she had some good one-liners and some good moments. Like, are they real? No one knows. And that's not intriguing or entertaining. That's annoying because you want to, when they give you a place to connect, you want to connect, and yet it's like, wait, we already established that we can't. Bye. So I think that would be it.
Okay, I'll just go and talk about, I don't know if anybody can see or hear, but I'll go ahead and talk about what I would like to see going forward, and then I'll get us out of this this up and down internet crisis. So what I would like to see going forward, just based on what I saw in this episode and for Harvey and Donna that we talked about before, the actual like getting together moment, you know what I mean? But beyond that, I would like to, or before that, I guess I should say, I would like to see a build up to where it feels like a very conclusive point. Because like we talked about earlier, and I think a lot of people talked about in the chat earlier, is that, yeah, just reading in the chat as well. A lot of people talked about in the chat earlier that it can feel sometimes like there wasn't necessarily a clear point where they figured out that they had feelings for each other, or that they were going to, you know, progress closer together. It felt like it was always like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back type of thing. And I would like for the build up to like the ultimate moment actually feel like a proper build up, and that we're not like blindsided by it, and certainly not that it happens off screen, I guess I should say. Nicole Fernandez says, what do you guys think will come for Harvey and Donna with this weird chemistry thing going on? Yeah, I think that's kind of what both you and I have sort of been talking about, and which obviously has been cutting in and out because of robot stuff. But,
working now, sweetie.
Yeah, but because Shana and I are both actually robots, and that's why our internet kept cutting in and out during tonight's episode. But I just want to see a clear buildup. For Lewis and Sheila, I want to see a clear breakup because they've broken up before and kept getting back together, and I kind of want to be done with them. I suspect that won't happen, but that's what I would like. And then for the other storyline, the Sam and Alex thing, the only time I've ever cared about their rivalry was this whole like altercation over his daughter. So I would like for them to be able to, if they're going to continue Sam versus Alex as a storyline, generate that level of interest, or any level of interest, into their rivalry for name partner. Because I certainly didn't have it before, and this is kind of the first time. So that kind of wraps up everything. We had so many good questions tonight, and I feel terrible that the internet was so bad tonight. I feel like it's in a better spot right now, but I don't want to push my luck, and we're right at 30 minutes, so I'll go ahead and cut it off now. I also want to thank Shana for putting up with it. I think it's because we had so many storms around here in the last week that electricity and internet and all of that is still sort of cutting in and out, but thank you for putting up with that. But Shana, if they have any questions for you, since I'm sure quite a lot of what you were saying was coming across as robot talk as well, where can they find you to chat about suits?
They can find me on the Twitter at Shazors with a 0 and not an O. They can find me on the TV Addict if I ever get this thing written. They can find me out on the streets. No, those are probably the best two places.
Yes. And I have her information linked in the description down below, as well as mine, although you don't need mine. You know what I am. I'm Cammie and Ray everywhere. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us and putting up with my bad internet. And if you have any more questions or comments about suits, we would love to hear them. You can comment on this video. You can come chat with me on Twitter. You can come chat with me wherever. And hope you guys have a good week. Thank you for joining me. Bye, Shana.